Welcome back to our coverage of the League Championship Series, where H2K and Schalke are about to face our final series of the day. I'm Quickshot, he's Defisho, and we're here to get this best of two underway. A few golf claps from around. Let's start by talking about one of the surprises for me from yesterday. Schalke. They come out the gates absolutely swinging.
Yep.
A 2-0. Gilius looked phenomenal in that second game.
Oh, completely. He dominated Move, who then, funny enough, actually played really well today against Origin. So it wasn't even just because Unicorns couldn't do anything at all as a team. No, Schalke just played really well. Gilius, of course, in the jungle, combined with his new mid lane as well, set up a lot of interesting moves. And I hate to say it, but Exile from Unicorns of Love didn't have his greatest debut ever. He just died and died and died. This is first time he died, by the way.
And it's interesting, right? Because I saw Exile yesterday and I start to think that's it, one series, you know, these grand sweeping statements. But Exile comes back today earlier and surprises. But let's go back into Schalke. They look good. You know, they punished a shaky looking UOL. Some of their players stepped up in fantastic way, Fox and Gilius, for example. On the other side, H2K, they had a mixed bag. They lost game one of the series and then they bounced back in game two. And the reason they bounced back is Jankos opened up his backpack and carried on that Lee Sin. I think he went 5-0 before 20 minutes. It was phenomenal.
So you're telling me we have two junglers who yesterday each had a game where they went crazy, got, of course, player of the game and everything, and now they're facing each other today.
I know.
Yeah, interesting. That could be a matchup to watch.
What do you think that means, Defisio?
I mean, we could see jungle focus in the pick and ban phase. We probably will see action in the early game from these two junglers as well, and it could snowball either way, obviously. We've seen both Jankos and Gilius give up early kills and then fall really far behind. Funny enough, what happened for Jankos yesterday in the first game they played.
Well, we'll find out what Jankos can do. Let's take a look at the lineups and everybody else that's around him, because starting on the blue side, it is going to be H2K. Odo there in the top lane, Jankos in the jungle, Ryu in the mid lane, Freeze the AD carry, Vander the support, and of course their returning coach, Prolly.
Yeah, and on the other side, we have Schalke, of course, here. Looking very fancy once we cut over to the guys with Steve up in the top lane. Gilius in the jungle, Fox in the mid lane, Mr. Rallis as the AD carry, Spraddle on support. Coach is Nif still behind the team. Great start for him. And it's funny with these Schalke guys, because when you talk to them, they have so much confidence now. And they're so happy because they put so much effort into this off-season, started practicing before any other team almost, played so many different scrims. And I just asked like Gilius yesterday, I'm like, what happened, right? Like, what did you guys improve on? And he's like, you know what? Everything.
Well,
everything. It's like macro, shotgun, whatever, individual skill, everything.
Hold that thought. Welcome to everybody over on EULCS2. You have joined us for the final series of the day. It is H2K taking on Schalke 04 in their very own best of two. H2K, they picked up a draw yesterday. And Schalke, of course, they went 2-0 just in time for picks and bans. It's almost like you couldn't have planned this any better. We touched on how good Gilius and Jankos were yesterday. Straight out the gate, a Nidalee ban. Not a real surprise there.
Also, Vladimir, H2K were prepared for Schalke because they actually banned Vladimir yesterday as well in both the games. And of course, we saw a great performance from Schalke on that specific champion against Unicorns of Love. So I understand the ban. It is a champion right now who is extremely good, but also by some teams still fairly underrated. Not H2K, however, they understand. They also maybe don't feel too comfortable playing against a very good Vladimir player, and therefore they just remove it. Same for Schalke, by the way, as yesterday, just Nidalee Rise. They actually didn't ban anything as the last ban, because they had like 3 S-tier picks open. They wanted to give one over to H2K and pick 2 to Unicorns of Love in that game. But here, I do expect them to have a last ban.
All right, let's find out what that last ban will be. Rounding out H2K was a Fizz taken off the table. And the final ban will be Lucian. So removing that from Freeze, that is interesting. Freeze yesterday actually had kind of a mixed bag of performances. He was outclassed by Steelback in game 1. And then game 2, after 20-25 minutes when his team let him play, he did very well because Jankos really performed exceptional yesterday. And he's got his hands on Kindred on that first pick.
No big surprise. Nidalee being banned away, leaving Kindred as the best available jungler. But Elise and Rek'Sai are perfectly fine picks to lock in for Schalke.
It was Elise that Gilius went off on, wasn't it?
It was. And you don't have to pick it in the first rotation as Schalke. You can wait and instead get other high priority picks, which is exactly what they're doing. Braum specifically, I really like. I think he is the best of the melee supports. And it's like him and Bard are my 2 favorites right now. I have gone to the school of Crepo and I've learned all the stuff about Bart. But Braum is really, really strong, especially in this teamfight meta where he has such a high impact.
Well, let's find out if Vanda wants to run the risk of that particular champion, or if it's too early in the draft. You can see Ryu chatting away, as is Prolly. And for H2K, they've got to decide what they run into Victor. It's a pretty safe lock-in here for Fox. And with Vladimir and Rise taken off the table,
I mean,
where do they look?
There's a LeBlanc for Ryu. We've seen Lissandra being played by Nukedog really well. Azir is perfectly fine here as well if H2K want to go very standard, want to match some of the late game team fighting. But the reason we see so much Victor coming in as these blind picks is because he doesn't have the same amount of counters as Azir has right now. Like, Avaro's pick is really good into Azir as an example. So if you pick Azir early, you set up for that poke composition. But Victor is just very safe overall. He can lane against basically everything and just scale into late game. Yeah. And then he will always have an impact.
Yeah, gets the point that Chaos Storm can just one-shot somebody.
We love it.
When it eventually ticks. Caitlyn and Echo locked in here for H2K. Pretty safe lock-ins. Freeze actually went for the Trap Max yesterday. Really zone control heavy. Really making sure to play the lines. Unfortunately, he fell pretty far behind, so he didn't have the damage once the zone was created. And Maokai and Siva locked in for Schalke, so they really want to run at you. They really
point here is surprising.
Kill something in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, Schalke is the most standard generic team fighting composition we have right now in this meta. Obviously, you can then argue maybe not Siva every time, but because Caitlyn is picked and Lucian is banned, so she just pops up there and she works so well with Maokai and Victor, who benefits a lot from extra mobility. So I really like the pick. I think Schalke is running a very, very good composition. A lot of tools, especially towards the late game, where H2K have a bit of a split pusher in the echo. Obviously not like you're going to destroy the Maokai, but you do have pressure up there in the lane. Can lock in a mid lane again, like Lissandra or LeBlanc, and play 1-3-1 comp, try and play around the big team fight of Schalke. Or you just match it and say, you know what, you want a team fight? We're going to team fight.
See if whose team fight's better.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it.
That's
basically it.
Who's going to get themselves into the lead? It will be an Alistair lock-in here for Vanda. Once again, frontline. Once again, some team fight presence. And it will combo very well with that peel that he may want to buy some time for Freeze on Caitlyn.
Yeah, so we might see Schalke now say we want a physical damage jungler, because we have Maokai top, we have Victor mid lane. We want to smooth it out here for these big fights. So Rek'Sai and Lee Sin are the two options we would normally see in the jungle as physical damage dealers. We also know Gillis is a great Lee Sin player, but in the past when he's played it, we've seen him go off and be like fantastic, and then we've seen him be afraid of pulling some of the big plays. So I'm a little bit 50-50 on it, but I think with the way he played yesterday, if he can do the same and he's not afraid, Lee Sin can work for him.
There was absolutely no fear on his Elise yesterday. However,
he got like fed every kill as well, by the way. He just walked into the river and Move was like, I'm dead. Okay, here's my hold.
And I think because of that play, there we go, last second switch. So it is going to go back to the champion that allowed Gilius to pick up that Player of the Game award in the second of the series. And it will give us a fairly well-rounded composition, I feel, from Schalke. They've got some good team fights, some good pick opportunities, some good skirmish, and even wave clear to boot. This early game could be very, very impactful for both teams.
Yeah, both teams run a ton of wave clear here. Definitely not going to be one of the issues for the teams. Engage-wise, well, we have Maokai Siva on one side, you have Echo flanking, and then the Alistar flash engages on the other side. So both compositions kind of have a bit of everything, and we will get one of these games where we might not see 20 kills the first 20 minutes, but then once we start hitting 2 or 3 items, we get these big explosive team fights happening over and over around Dragons, around Barons. And there's great scaling, again, on both sides. I mean, I think they just kind of agreed, guys, you know what, let's just team fight composition straight away. No split pushing, we don't care about it, just team fight.
Oh, that sounds like music to my ears.
I mean, yeah, and if the play-by-play dream.
If there's something I have seen from the EULCS1 games today, is that there's been a lot of fights around Dragon, especially during the opening series of the day. Here's your team compositions, guys, if you have just joined us, and thank you to everybody from EULCS2 who has just joined us. Hashtag H2K win or hashtag S04 win. Heard a great question from the Splice Boys earlier saying, should there be a new hashtag? Hashtag Spy Tie, for example, because they've had 2-1 results.
Yes, maybe. If you think it's going to be a tie from game 1.
Hey, you never know. It is now a result that can actually happen.
We've had a few, but also some 2-0s.
I absolutely love the energy. Thank you guys here in the arena. Unfortunately, there is a quick pause as one of the game clients has crashed on load-in. We will get them to reset that quickly and jump back in. And I didn't actually see which skin Steve is running because I hope it is the football Maokai skin.
Not the cat skin?
No, not when...
the crazy cat lady Maokai?
No, I've had enough of the right meow for meow. But we'll see if anybody's going to run it later.
That was sad, Trevor.
Yeah, I know.
That was really sad.
I haven't cast with you
That
yet.
was sad. That was terrible.
I've got to welcome the summer split with a pun, you know.
That's fine. So H2K, and yeah, I'm just gonna move on here. And Schalke. Not only do we have these compositions who love to teamfight late game, and it's very standard, right? Keystones are looked at in the loading screen. Standard. Nothing really stands out. No one is running double TP either. We have exhaust on Rio. We have heal on the Victor as well. I mean,
so what about lanes versus non-standard lanes? Do you think anybody really wants to avoid getting into a specific matchup?
No, I mean, you can lane basically everything here. Echo does have a slight advantage early on against Maokai. Caitlyn straight up against the Sivir as well is better for the Caitlyn.
Yeah.
But then you have the Braum who can assist a little bit more unless the Alistar can then all in with the Caitlyn, obviously on the Sivir. So I think you can lane basically everything here, but there are small advantages to gain. Mid lane as well. Azir tends to push in the Victor, just slightly in the early game. Victor then gets his first Hex core, he can push it back. And then we basically look at the junglers. Like, it is about the junglers in the early game. Whichever lane they decide to gank, that's where we can start to see some snowballing.
Let's find out which lane that will be, Deficio. We are finally loading up here onto the Rift for the final series of Week 1 here in Europe. And of course, it is H2K taking on Schalke. Schalke looking to go undefeated in their first week. It would really, really make the team happy considering the struggles that the squad had in the spring split.
Right, but a team who in the spring split also started really... Oh, I want to talk about this. This is the level 1 Schalke did yesterday, where they try and push the enemy mid laner back to his tower, so there's no vision behind the Victor, and then the Braum and his AD carry can sneak into this bush and try and surprise people, because they don't actually see them. If you stand in that little banana bush here and scout as an H2K member, you just see the entrance down to the river. You wouldn't actually see people snuck in through the mid lane bush. This time around, no one was waiting, but yesterday Move was sitting there, had to then flash away, and then died later on because he had no flash from level 1. So it actually is a planned strategy that the Victor goes so aggressive straight away. It's not just for fun. It is simply to make sure no one can see what's happening behind the Victor, and you can sneak into these bushes with the Braum.
I like that. I like seeing some of these adaptations and then figuring out the counter, predicting those moves.
Yeah, basically your opponent wait in that banana bush and then you're fine.
Hey, it's one of those things you got to look at. Taking a quick look through the lane assignments. H2K, they seem to have initiated this lane swap. No deep vision for either squad. And Rals and Spratel, they are now going to head down to the bottom. And we've got ourselves a lane swap.
Yes, and I would like to welcome you to Stream 1, Trevor. Here we get Cloud Drakes. And the first one is a Cloud Drake as well. And that's how it works in this stream. You know, yesterday, out of all Drakes, we got Cloud Drake the most in the EULCS, 11 times. Second most was Mountain with 9, if I remember 100% correct.
Yep.
Otherwise, Spelzy is going to yell at me, and I will correct myself in about 30 seconds time.
There is one thing, though. That feels like a long time ago. Because
it is.
8 games have been played between then and now. And I've personally seen at least 6 Infernals. So today is all about those Infernal Drakes.
Except for here with Cloud.
Oh, okay, so this game. But, as mentioned, there's 8. You don't have to be... you don't have to be 100% right.
I'm just trying to shoot you down, that's all.
Well, Freezer's trying to shoot this tower down. Going to have the support of Odawamne. He's going to get up here probably a little bit ahead of Steve, who is joining Rals and Spratel. And, you know, all standard here in terms of this 3v0 lane swap.
And I was so wrong, Trevor. I just got it in my ear right here. There's only been 1 Cloud Drake today in this stream.
There you go.
So, I lied to everyone.
You know, I was saying there was Infernals. You didn't want to give me the chance to get to it.
I've learned not to trust your opinion, Trevor.
Fair enough. I can understand. I can understand that. I'll let it go.
I'm just lying.
But Deficio, who's going to get the advantage here in terms of tempo? H2K.
Basically even at the moment, because you need to wait for these minions to die anyway, so it's going to be so close. All about how fast your AD carry support can recall. Schalke is actually staying, making sure this tower dies, and therefore they actually get the assist goal from it as well, but the same on top side, so not a whole lot dying at the same time. Sometimes we see lane swaps now, not specifically to dodge matchups, but because you want to have your bottom lane on the bottom side once the second tier 1 tower dies. and you just kill that tower, and you potentially set up an early dragon for yourself. And it's something we can see more of when it's like Infernal Drakes or Mountain Drakes. Cloud obviously is not the exciting one, but I guess it's something.
Yeah. Something that people will fight over is what I've learned today. First backs after the towers have dropped. Freezer's grabbed himself that Cull, and Mr. Riles has gone for Boots Longsword, so a slight difference in approach in terms of itemization here. And nothing really else to speak of. Second Dawn's Ring for Fox's Victor, and the top laners still just doing the best they can to get XP and farm. Traditional Steve just marginally behind in XP.
Standard draft, standard keystone, standard lane swap so far. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy going on. And we're Schalke now, Trevor. Because they played so well yesterday, and then Unicorns beat OG today. So suddenly it's not like OG are just... Oh, sorry, Unicorns are just completely lost, right? No, as Schalke actually played well and they deserved the 2-0. I just want to see a series where it doesn't even matter if Schalke wins for me. It matters how well they play and how many mistakes they make. Because last split with Elements, they made so many of these mistakes. We just kept going like, why? Like, how did you mess that up? And then they fell behind and lost and did nothing, right? Yesterday they did make those mistakes. And I want to see a series now from Schalke where it's a lot cleaner, close, matching up against H2K, and we get to see a more consistent team.
All right, consistency is what we're looking for. And Spratel, as well as the rest of Schalke, they've got to this top outer turret. I think a little bit behind H2K. I feel like H2K will have a slight damage advantage, but it's 3 members of Schalke on the top tower.
And that's the thing, right? You can wait as a top lane and get a few more minions, but then obviously you will be later on joining your team on the other side of the map when you have to take that tower. So even though H2K was slightly faster in the push because it was 3 on the side of Schalke, it will even out again. We keep the standard. No one gets a massive advantage just yet. Experience from top laners to keep you guys updated on a very exciting thing is so close to the defense, like 1 minion advantage for Steve at this point.
Well, 10 CS for Odoamne to 8 CS on Steve. Levels 3 each. Again, it's just standard. You know, there's nothing we're seeing here that is amazingly proactive, and nothing that is amazingly wrong either. So both teams just got to find their groove. One thing I didn't mention, Vander running the Flash Ignite on his support, Ryu, Flash Exhaust, Fox, Flash Heal. So single teleports on both sides. Seen quite a bit of double teleports throughout the week. So it's quite interesting that both mid laners opted away from it. Obviously, Victor, not your most amazing TP mid laner.
It's not too exciting as a Victor or an Azir to TP in and join the fight specifically, but some trading going on.
Yeah, pretty heavy trading. Gravity Field, Chaos Storm. Fox is going all in, gets the stun. Chaos Storm continues to chase down. Ryu might get 1v1. Siphon power! First blood for Fox. Jankos arrives to follow it up.
And while Ryu would have gotten the kill anyway, because obviously Victor was on the tower here, Ryu just stayed and got stunned. That was really poorly played by Ryu. I'm almost 99% sure he could have walked out of it. Anyhow, early kills, and something Schalke did yesterday as well. A lot of action around mid lane, and always send members in to make sure you have 2 or 3 guys if a gank trap. So let's see. Okay, Ryu is trading, so he's staying still. He stays on the edge of it. Like, why? One more step, man. One more step. Obviously here the tower would most likely have secured him the kill anyway. Jankos comes in and helps his team, and it secures an assist for Ryu at least.
That he does. An additional flash blown on the side of H2K, so Jankos without that summoner spell. And Odoamne and Steve, they're finally going toe-to-toe. Got themselves access to some solo lanes, and you know, Steve really stepped up yesterday. Had some very good games.
Steve had the best day ever for him, because his mid lane and jungler were just killing everything, and he was just kind of farming on the tank. Then he joins a team fight and he gets a few kills. So we're like, right, well, pretty good day for Steve. Didn't really have to do anything. But we know the viewers, they like to learn. They like to watch these pro gamers and pick up on stuff they can use in solo queues. So Ryu here taught you guys that do not stand in the stun of Victor. Just move out of it. Otherwise you will probably die.
It is. Gets caught out by Odoamne. Ryu slides in and punishes Gilius for trying to go for that blue buff steal. Down the bottom lane, Rawls and Spratel, they're on the tower.
Yeah, I think Schalke maybe expected 2 H2K members to be on bottom side because they were pushing in with Rawls and Spratel, and then Gilius tries to steal a buff even though his team isn't there to back him up. Gets punished, And H2K, slow and steady for them. Early kill for Jankos, early kill for Oda Omne, and despite Rio obviously dying, nothing has gone terribly wrong.
When you look at the big picture, H2K are still up in global gold, farming relatively well, small advantages here and there. Jankos only a little sizable one, +10 over Gilius. And obviously the kills are going to help him out as well.
But again, this is what we talked about in Champs. Like, it's going to be one of these games where we probably won't see like super crazy action for a good 20 minutes, but then we start getting 2 items towards the 3rd item, and then we're going to get these big team fights. And don't worry, there will be a lot of kills happening.
Yeah. The moment Fox got level 7 or level 8 that was, he was able to instantly turn around on Ryu. Fox had fallen behind in CS in that matchup.
So we, again, we need that Hex core as well.
By the way, Ryu, Vanda, and Jankos, they're just having a chill, you know. Got some s'mores out, chilling with, looking for an opportunity, but it's down bottom where some shenanigans could come down. Mr. Rawls eats a 90 caliber, Freeze is going to run for his life, Flash is used, heal is used, Steve teleports in, Odo's joined the fight as well, but it's Rawls that picks up the second for Schalke. Now Schalke turn their attention to Odo Omne. Chrono Break is available for Odo. Follow the ghost, he can jump
on the wrong
back
side.
in. The rest of H2K look to re-engage. Vanda does not have Unbreakable Will. Vengeful Maelstrom from Steve. They root the cow. The cow flashes away. Odo Chrono Breaks to stay alive for a few seconds longer before Steve is taken down. Things have got messy, but it's Schalke that have got themselves 2 already. The Sand Soldiers fly forward, shutting down Rawls as Jankos picks up another, this time onto Gilius. Fox is going to run for his life. Lamb's Respite buys some time. The Death Ray tags Jankos and Ryu, but it's not enough for more. 3 for 2. Eat the chair. Jankos is running out of mana. Not enough for a dance, I don't think, and a zap and a pew. Fox gets the kill.
So it's H2K trying to set up a trap in the mid lane, but Schalke already gone down to the bottom side. They catch out Freeze very early. You can see the rest of H2K is in the river, and now Schalke is saying we just need to fully commit for this. If we kill the AD carry, the rest of our team is already here, and then we can still win the fight despite fighting in minions, despite the fact that Azir can put up a tower as well when he joins. So they're basically just swapped around here. They're going to go for Schalke, but to fight their way out, basically.
I'm glad that they did. Gave us a very extended team fight. Schalke end the entire trade in a 4 for 3. They still come out in a better situation, but Ryu did so much damage to Fisher.
Yeah, a lot of damage, and then gets to put up the tower as well, but not enough in the end, because a Victor on full HP can just keep chasing, and we said, you know, there's going to be a lot of team fights. I didn't expect it to be this early, but we'll take it.
Hey, you said 20 minutes, we got it at 10.
Yeah, we got it at 10.
I'm very happy with that. Right, we jump out of the replay. 5 kills to 5. Gold is even. The first dragon will be picked up here by Jankos, completely uncontested. And if you look down the scoreboard, 2 kills for Ryu, 2 kills for Jankos, that's single for Odo, versus 3 for Fox. So a little bit scary if Fox can get a good Chaos Storm down.
Yeah, I think if you look at, again, this 20-minute, 25-minute mark and the big team fights we're going to see there, these early kills will definitely benefit Schalke more, because 3 of them is straight on the Victor. If you get him straight to 2 items, and then obviously even more later, he just becomes such a monster very, very quickly. Wants to get that early, fully upgraded Hex core, which is expensive, obviously, to get. But once you have it, again, the ulti is so powerful. Rylas as well getting a kill. Definitely fine for Schalke that Steve only gets assist, and same for Gilles. You don't need your Elise to be fed. He's just going to be a tank late game anyway. And a much weaker tank than the likes of Marco, the likes of Echo, so you've got more of the CC machine. But great for Schalke to get so many early kills on that mid laner. 2,000 gold he's recalling with now.
CC machine, very useful when Gilius is hitting a platoon, which he has been doing in his last few performances. So tower is under a lot of pressure. Fox has been unable to recall, so despite the 2,000 gold, unable to convert that into actual combat stats. And I took a quick look at the Dragon Pit. The next one will be Mountain. As you see, Jankos and Vanda, they're going to be scouting out the area. Jankos grabs himself a Mark of the Kindred. I think that's his second one. On his way to Devour, and there you go. Hex core upgraded, spending all that
13
moolah.
minutes in. Okay, that is quick. You just fully upgraded on this Victor, and again, it's because his ulti is so extremely powerful at this point, and you need to stay on targets, because it keeps ticking every 2 seconds for the full 6-second duration. And when you then have someone who can run away from it, obviously you don't get the full value of your ulti, but because it's faster, you're not going to run anywhere, and it will, if you stay in it, destroy you in the late game.
A lot of damage to play with on the side of Schalke. Odo is going to jump onto Steve. One of those saplings comes out. Steve is going to get cut down where he stands, running out of mana. Needs the Maelstrom time. Ooh. Defensive flash!
And that's
he makes it! Flash fail! Both of them!
Oh my God!
Hashtag LCS, big plays! That's a big wall!
Steve even showed where to flash over the wall. You can't do it everywhere on that wall. That's why he flashes at the right moment. The rest of H2K could literally walk to that spot and flash as well, but they just kept moving around. At least there was coordination. Face planning at the same time.
That was an oopsie.
Yeah, I see where you kind of walk away and just laugh at it, but...
I have to ask the analyst desk for PGL to maybe do a replay of that one. We'll see whether or not we can get that wish to come true.
Fighting.
Fox flashes over the Emperor's Divide after Ryu's engage. They trade summoner spells 1-for-1 as the mid lane tower gets chunked down. Jankos takes a massive damage from that Death Ray and Boomerang Blade. Schalke, very successful siege without even having a full minion wave.
Keep in mind, they have flash advantage after what happened on the top side. And also, they just have the better positioning coming in, forcing a H2K away. I like how Schalke is setting it up. They're not going straight for the dive. They're just saying, basically, we can't dive you, so you have to now step away from your tower, and we can just slowly but surely hit your tower and take it down. So just very smart play. And again, something we didn't see from the Schalke team in the last split. They would have ran straight into that tower dive and just gone crazy. Or they would have done the opposite and actually never engaged in anything, and we would have stand here for 40 minutes, and we would have like 1 kill.
You sound really salty about the spring splits, but...
I'm just so happy to see a change. You know, I like when
progression
teams are realizing their mistakes, also making a good roster change, and then coming in more prepared, playing much better. It makes me happy, but I just sound salty because I'm a very negative person.
That makes sense. Now we need to continue to look at this performance, because the Victor into a Zia matchup was one that we knew was going to do well in the mid game for Victor. But Schalke need to make use of this advantage they have, because as the game continues to play out, Ryu's going to start completing some of these recipes and continue to grow and continue to be a major, major threat for Schalke.
Right, and one of the things Azir can do in the mid game has kind of been taken away from Ryu, because we've actually had more action going on in other lanes. Because normally, again, in this matchup, Azir can set up these shuffles where he forces a flash from the Victor, and then you gank him a second time, and then you kill him when he has no flash. You can't do that when there's constant fighting in side lanes, and also fighting against Steve.
That's a very aggressive play from Vander. He flashed over the wall. Fox comes in to try save Steve's life. Steve's in trouble, down to 200 hit points, and it's Jankos that picks up the kill.
Look at the bottom lane.
H2K threw everything at the kill, and they will lose themselves a tower, but get an outer in reply.
Yeah, definitely worth it here for H2K, catching Steve when he's moving down from the top lane. Rest of Schalke on the bottom side, obviously not expecting H2K to wait in their jungle. Mid tower again taking more damage. Rest of Schalke is on their way. Steve does have teleport in 5 seconds.
5 seconds
and
for
Freeze
Steve
is gone.
To come to life. Freeze is not even there. This
H2K
could
needs to run.
be a 5v4. H2K puts the tower down. They're going to fight on the Sun Disc, and they have to make this work.
Oh,
Fox is caught, gets pushed into the gravity field. That'll stun up some of H2K, but Fox is already down before the storm can come out. There's Rolls from the sideline. Steve's in trouble. Gilius is in trouble. Here comes Sprottle. They've traded mid laners, but Steve is already dead. He TP'd in just to get cut down. 1 for 2.
Ryu saved the day. That play was so important for H2K, because it was a 5v4. Yes, okay, there was a turret being set up by H2K, but still, Schalke could have engaged in. No AD carry for H2K even close by. But because of this move from Ryu, they take down the Victor so early. Rest of Schalke can't react in time. Look at Rales as well, pathing around the tower here. In the end, he can't really decide where to go. And suddenly H2K comes out ahead, even though Freeze is still in the river. He's running. I don't think he will even join to get a single hit down. Nope. He got a heal, though.
Got a heal.
Put a heal. Ah, he got 1 hit in the end. Well done, Freeze.
Not a huge amount of damage to work with. We've not mentioned it yet, but Freeze only Hurricane and Pickaxe. So he's still trying to get himself to a comfortable position. Takes some time. But luckily, for H2K, Ryu does a very good job. Gilius and Spartel put damage down into Vander. There's no unbreakable will, so this might be a kill. No! The minion taxi over the wall. Vander's able to save his own life.
I'm not a smart man, Trevor. I just got some tea and I instantly started drinking it, and it's really hot.
It's been a long day for you, Fisher, hasn't it? I think I can feel it. There's that Mountain Drake at spawn. Schalke will get their hands into this one. No contest from side of H2K.
All right, I'm back.
Schalke continue to even out this game. They've got an additional tower over their opponents. They'll even out those dragons is what I was trying to get at.
Such a hero play before, though, from Rio. Also the most fed member from Schalke he managed to take out before the fight even starts. I like how twice now we've had these big team fights already, where you're trying to catch people when they're basically further towards your base than their own, and they have nowhere to run. They just have to fight their way out. So even if you don't want to fight, you don't have a choice. And then we get some of these small outplays, big outplays even in the case of Rio here.
Yeah.
A lot of action already. We're not even 20 minutes in. So
19 minutes in. This time around, I think there's enough damage to kill the Herald. I've seen him been attempted in this time frame multiple times. Going to run out of time. This time it will be secured. So H2K, secure the Herald, donate that one to Odo. And he can use that to help continue bullying Steve out. Got that Iceborne Gauntlet, got a bunch of stacks on his Curse Seal as well.
yeah, and the main reason Odo Amno wants it here is not even specifically for the one-on-one against the Maokai, because 5% damage reduction against the Maokai at this point doesn't matter that much. It's more actually for the extra damage he gets on towers, because the proc he gets, like, we call it like a discount static shift proc or whatever. It actually works on towers. Decent bonus damage for him, so if he's sitting in a side lane, he gets onto a tower, he does have a bit more presence here. And obviously taking that Rift Herald, you didn't lose anything, because you had full river control and it was about to disappear anyway, so you just get it for free. There's a 20-minute buff where Udamne now is a little bit more annoying if he gets to a tower, and that is basically the only benefit he's going to get from it, but it's enough.
Can hopefully open up some options for H2K. They are down a tower in the bigger picture. Taking a look at the items, we've gone over 20 minutes. Gold is still very close, 2,000 difference. 1,000 difference rather. And Locket of the Iron Slaughter picked up for Gilius. Gonna go that tank support route. BF Sword picked up for Freeze, so he's starting to be more relevant with those Hurricane Bolts. And of course, Ryu, he's got 2 items complete, the Rylai's as well as the Nashers. So even more damage to back up those hero plays.
Yeah, and the best possible build for Nazir, exactly what he likes to do. It always hurts for Nazir if he has to go Pistol Scepter now, as the first or second item. Not the greatest DPS from that after some of the changes to it. So definitely a good choice from Ryu, and funny enough, a bit like with the composition, nothing really standing out, but this is different. Early Baron being started by H2K, no vision from Schalke at all. Have 1 blue trinket on the mid laner, but he's not even moving. Spartel is coming.
This is going to be risky. Lamb's Respite has come down the ward. Will reveal 2,000 hit points. H2K should be able to secure it, and they do completely sneak away the Baron at 21 minutes.
And Schalke didn't even feel like they could commit. They had the ward down for Steve to TP2, but probably feeling the rest of the team were too far away. Even though ult had been used from Jankos, H2K was low. Very early Baron going down. And that is massive, because the comps are so close again in terms of the team fighting. Getting such a big advantage from a free Baron, basically.
Immediately following the Rift Herald, setting up the vision for that play, pushing in that portion of the jungle. And looking at H2K's inventory, a load of pink wards backed up as well. So anywhere they want to push with these Baron-empowered minions, they're going to be able to leave some vision behind and create so many more risks for Schalke to work through.
Yeah, so much of this control around the Baron just comes from the fact that H2K won that last fight. And okay, they have the Echo, who can push in the Maokai quite a bit. Force him to sit on a tier 2 tower. They have a Zir, Caitlyn, who very early can reach waves and just instant push them in as well. And just get that river control, which allowed them to sneak a Baron. The rest of Schalke is now in an annoying spot where Caitlyn gets to set up her traps. If you ever want to walk in and properly wave clear, you're going to eat one of the traps and you're going to get poked down, and then suddenly you're back in base. And then you just have to, you can never meet the mini wave early. You have to let it hit your tower, and that always gives H2K time to hit your tower as well. Just can be 5 seconds, but that's enough to get it low, and then you'll get it on second wave.
Always allows H2K to chip damage. But look at the minimap. So the mid tower was just secured by H2K. Rotate bottom. There's a gigantic minion wave building up at the top. So if H2K are able to knock this one down, they can swing over. Or alternatively, the moment Schalke show their face, cut them off, get to that top tower, and easily pick up yet another objective.
It's a classic H2K style from Spring Split as well. You just managed to play this rotation game extremely effective after getting your Baron. Freeze is on the bottom side away from the rest of the team, but they don't need him. They have Baron buff minions. All of Schalke have to take a longer route to go around and defend towers, so nothing they can really do at this point. have to just wait out the Baron and suddenly you find yourself 5k gold behind.
And now we test Schalke's ability to play from behind. Oh, didn't kill all of them. The truly great teams are able to stop giving up additional objectives and gold when and where possible. And now we see how good can Schalke defend. You know, how well do they play from behind? How well do they hold on to their inhibitor turrets? And more importantly, will they be able to prevent making those mistakes that cost games in the spring split? Like,
I mean,
not warding Baron, for example.
Yeah, they made one there. I guess you can say they made another one at that fight in the mid lane where we saw Rio with that great catch as well before the fight even started. Steve is now finding himself pretty overextended.
Yeah, Flash very early actually. We'll continue to chase. Odo's Time Winder should be up shortly. He's going to be able to just phase down.
Not going to work, guys.
1,500. Still hasn't put down the Maelstrom because it's already been used. Steve is killed. H2K have got themselves their 9th kill of the game. Chaos Storm comes out here for Fox as Ryu's going to look for a slide and glide. Opts not to follow his soldiers through. Looking at flashes blown. Freeze and Vander, all 4 summoners. Just to take down Steve, but it will open up this tower. Odo's hiding in the wings. Not done yet. Dashes onto Gilius. That will be enough to secure the objective.
Last outer turret gone. There's not really a whole lot to say. Because H2K is just playing this extremely safe. And Steve obviously overextended, goes down, gives up another tower. Mountain Drake, a lot of benefit now. H2K great in the mid game where you have to start pushing down these objectives, but sadly for H2K, I guess they already got 6 towers down. Yes. So now they just need it for inhibs.
Well, it'll help for the rest of the dragons and the rest of the next Baron, for example.
And a great dragon when you are ahead, because then it is about pushing towers. It is about getting some of these objectives like the Barons, where Mountain Drake helps. And now we wait. A trap has been set.
I don't think we're going to have to wait too long, because Ryu is already throwing Steve.
Yeah, that doesn't really work.
Out. Steve is going to use the Twisted Advance, but look at those Sand Soldiers. Vander will hold him in place to serve up another kill to H2K. It looked good though, just for a moment.
I liked it.
Just for a moment. H2K going to break open the base here. 5v4 for 30 seconds. There's not a lot Schalke can do. The Yordle snap traps have been put down. Odo dashes over the wall. Sets his sights on Fox. Parallel convergence, not going to stun anyone yet. The Chaos Storm will send them back. Rolls just gets chunked down. So much damage, and Freeze completely uncontested, hammering away on the inhibitor.
Oh, Freeze is in the game, right. Barely even noticed him because he's actually just been farming side lanes. And then he's been joining the team the few times they need him to kill like a Baron or kill a tower. It's been a job for Freeze in this game here. So the rest of H2K has just been playing the same style we are so used to. Ryu, the man setting up a trap, something he obviously, of course, loves to do. Sometimes will get punished for it, but this one, it's against the Maokai. Cute little thing in the start, but then Rylai's, Ashes, underfed Maokai.
Yeah.
Easy kill for Ryu.
Hey, it was 2v1. Means it's not fair.
It's true. And Steve was also level 12 at the time, 15.
See, there you go.
Unfair as well.
He's still struggling to find his way in. Only got the Spirit Visage, Balmy Cinder, Warden's Land. So like, bits and pieces. But it's the story of the game. Schalke, 7,000 gold down. They've only got the inhibitor turrets in the top, the middle lane. They've got supers to deal with in the bottom lane. And they're in even more trouble because Gilius has been caught. He's repelled up. There's no minions to go to. Gravity Field will split up H2K a little. Spritel's gone very aggressive. Odo's Chrono Break backwards, but this might be a tight fight. H2K have already used Lamb's Respite. Vander's going low. We'll get the heal from the ulti as Steve is chunked down. On the backline, Odo's kept all of Schalke busy. And Freeze is being chunked up by the Chaos Storm. Not going to be enough to get any kills. And Schalke get away with just losing one, but they expended their teleport as well.
Yeah, again, Schalke need to use everything every time there is a fight.
Oh!
Not stepping in. Trying to check with the laser. H2K now waiting for Baron to respawn. They already have the control, and we're not done yet here. Oh, we are done. He's just gonna kill the ward. But close enough fight. Showing what we maybe could have seen more of if it wasn't for that massive advantage H2K now build up with all the towers going down. Gillis getting caught out at first, but then it's actually a good setup for Schalke going in, blocking a massive area in the jungle with the Brawl multi. They all get to stand and hit the front line. No one in the back line of Schalke is really under any threat. And then obviously your tank goes down. We see the ulti from her. We see the damage from the Victor. We see the ulti. But now, just back to Baron for H2K. Not the same situation as before where they had to sneak it and were almost even in goal. They got, I don't know how many towers from that. 4 at least. 5 maybe.
Yes. 7,000 gold down. That's where Schalke find themselves. Trying to defend. Steve a little low because he's dealing with some of his minions. Ooh, that was a flash already. Gillies is going to die. Yeah, repels up for a few seconds. Wow! Damage from Fox is good. Gillies is able to repel down and managed to make his way out. Rals being protected by Spratel, the unbreakable shield buying time. Fox will be the sacrifice here. He's caught out on the wrong side of the wall. Ryu sends Steve back. Steve will try get away with a twisted advance, but you cannot escape the hands of H2K. Odo phase dives forward to pick up the 4th kill of the fight, and H2K can get into the base. This looks like it's going to be the first Nexus in the series.
Control game from H2K. Ever since they got that Baron, they played the early team fights well. And a classic H2K performance.
Absolutely the case. Play the game, the map.
Play the game
side
too.
lanes, get the ace, kill the base. H2K 1-0 in the series.
Was expecting a lot more late game team fights. We got some of them early. Yeah. Schalke had a few good ones. Then H2K with the big one in the mid lane. Rio with a great play, obviously. Setting it up and then just sneaking that Baron. Meant that H2K took down every single tower. Massive goal lead. And obviously when you have team fighting combo versus team fighting combo, one of them gets 7,000 goal lead. Well, the next few fights are going to be pretty one-sided.
One mistake in vision. One mistake in vision. Schalke played the lane swap evenly. They came out of it without any mistakes. They started repositioning in the mid game. But as soon as that 20-minute mark rolled around, made a mistake in the warding, disregarded maybe that could have been a thing, and H2K saw it and punished it.
And I would say also because Schalke put so much focus on the bottom side of the map, you know, it was H2K who got to trade for that mid tower, push it in, set up their own mid tower, have a fight there. Then right after that, we saw another situation where Schalke was pushing on the bottom side with 3 members, took another tower, while H2K were working on top side. So obviously they had the control already set up, and I think Schalke were just too late to realize, oh, we actually have never been on top side of the map, so we can't see anything, even at 21 minutes. And then Baron gets rushed down. Really nothing they can do at that point, because then every single tower is just falling.
And something else you also have to look at, the hero play from Ryu, how different that mid-game could have been. Because 5 members of Schalke were able to collapse on H2K. Ryu's able to single out Fox, the most fed
member,
most farmed member of Schalke, kill him before the fight breaks out, and then all of a sudden, H2K can lead to this strong mid play. So, you know, H2K, there's a backstage talking about the game, talking about the strategy. Some props to the man on the left, Ryu.
Probably. Coach, veteran, the analyst next to him as well, and Freeze with the team just explaining how he hit towers all game long, basically. But no, interesting game. We got some good action early on. We got beautiful macro one more time from H2K. Not making any mistakes once they had that advantage. Even that one close team fight in 1-0.
Well, we're going to find out what the analyst desk thinks of that game as we head over there right now.
Thank you very much, guys. We're going to break that game down with Crepo, Vedius, and also Reckless, who has joined us. Thank you so much for joining us after your match. It's been a long time since we talked to you as well. Obviously, we'll be diving a little bit more into your match in the post-game lobby.
We had a handshake moment already.
Yeah, I saw that. So what happened there, actually?
I mean, it's just really close. The whole fan like handshake or high five line is so close to the desk. Every player sees the camera, they pause, freak out, and then they look to the guy behind him. It's like, what do I do? And like, I don't know either. And then
when
eventually
in doubt,
they realize,
shake some hands.
Yeah, shake some hands. These are casters here, big fans.
Yeah. In any case, let's talk about Schalke taking on H2K. Obviously, Schalke coming off a fantastic day 1 where they won 2-0. H2K was 1-1 yesterday. Vedius, what did you make of both teams' approaches and picks and bans here?
I thought the priority on the Victor was quite interesting coming out from Schalke. We were discussing it on the desk how Fox does seem to put a lot of value on both the Victor and the Vladimir. And with the Vladimir taken off the table, they're basically saying, okay, we want to make sure that we have a mid laner that feels pretty comfortable on that Victor.
Very interesting as well. We saw the Sivir coming out, Reckless. It is not something that we've seen a lot here in Europe. Only the 2nd pick over the 2 days. What do you make of the low priority on her in Europe?
Well, I think her biggest weakness right now is that she has a lot of matchups that she struggles in. But then again, in the next patch, Lucian is getting nerfed, and I think that's going to open up a lot of versatility in the role. So I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing more of her moving forward. But I guess this week it was quite tough for her to take a place.
Yeah. On the other hand, Freeze, Crepo, He's only played Caitlyn so far. What did you make of H2K's bottom lane draft?
I mean, he is the new Forgiven after all.
Oh, there we go. The memes.
Just playing Forgiven. H2K's draft, I mean, it's team fights versus team fight. Reckless was alluding to it a little bit when we were watching the game, that you felt like they traded up in like priorities because they had more tier 1 picks on their roster. You can definitely see that. I mean, in this type of comp, the official summed it up in the desk as well. Whoever gets the lead eventually is gonna win these team fights. You'll have a superior lead unless you make a big mistake. I think at the end of the game as well, Schalke was kind of desperate to try and get back in, and they opted in the fights a little overeager, and they didn't really let Fox do what he does well on Victor. Is where he kind of pokes around, nibbles at the side of the fight, and then commits with the ulti. It was very often too late. By the time Fox had his ulti down, Schalke was already dead on the floor.
Yeah, there we see them discussing, of course, with Coach Nif.
To be fair to Schalke, just adding to Krepo's point, they actually had a decent early game. Fox in particular putting a lot of pressure down onto the Ryu. Yes, he had to trade a 1-for-1, but putting Ryu in that sort of a situation, it could be pretty admirable coming out from Fox. And the play that they actually made in the bottom lane set up Schalke quite nicely to have a decent early game.
Yeah, let's take a look at that because it was quite messy from both teams coming in, and Fox actually joined the fight quite late.
We had a good old bot lane party here. Double TP's coming in. Initially, Freeze obviously getting picked off. Runs out of gap closers, and then Gilios lands the cocoon. You just see like how far away from the fight the mid laners are. So Fox is joining in second. He starts moving right now. He ends up actually influencing this fight later on.
Yeah, he doesn't. The real question is, why is Freeze that overextended? The fact that the collapse comes down from the side of Schalke sets them up nicely, but they overcommit a little bit, and once Ryu joins and he's able to get this turret up, this is where things start to look much better for H2K. This is exactly what Krepo was saying. The joining of the mid laners is really where things start to shift, but then with Fox joining in, being full health, he then just needs to buy time, and he's easily able to clean up this fight.
And Reckless, if you're an AD carry, how annoying is this?
I'm not really sure if he could have done anything in this case, though. I actually think Schalke could have taken this easier than they did, because the Kindred was up for way too long, in my opinion. At this point of the game, she's just stronger than most of the other champions in the game.
I mean, I have this notion personally that a lot of the bot lane has lost skill in the 2v2 matchups because of teleport being so prominent. And every time I felt like when you go for a trade that you would win at the end of the trade because you go in aggressively first, you would get ruined by teleport. Do you agree with that at all? Is it just better to just play max range safely? Or is there still room for 2v2 kills?
I still think there's room for 2v2 kills, but I think in general the other side of the map is quite neutral in most cases. You have, I mean, the strong top laners, you have the mages mid. So most cases you actually can match the enemy teleport with yours. But as you said, if you're the first one going deep, they're also going to be the first one TPing, right?
Yeah.
So it's a tough call in general. And I think, for example, yesterday I got punished for going in first.
Couple of hooks in your face.
Yeah. But either way, I think the game is just so team-oriented right now that it's hard to count it as like a 2v2 lane anymore.
Yeah, so let's take a look at another team fight. I actually want to take a look at this because it seemed like in this one, in this replay, that H2K was absolutely trapped. But you think here that they're trapped, obviously. They're in the middle, they have the Azir turret, but Schalke 04 is attacking from both sides.
Yeah.
But what does Schalke do wrong here then?
I mean, they go full Rorschach, like, nope, we're not trapped in here. You are trapped in with me, because the scoop from Rio just wins this fight. Fox is, if he can stay alive longer in this fight, he can do a lot of damage, wreak havoc, but it's just a really good presence of mind, really good awareness here from Rio to scoop him in. And obviously, you're never really trapped if you have that Azir turret available.
No, never. Yeah.
I really like the decisiveness from H2K to just instantly make the decision where you're being attacked from two flanks and you just go, well, the weaker flank is in front of us, so let's just go forward. They get the pick down onto Fox, and then the team fight just swings in their favor. So the fact that H2K, even with a new AD carry, can just have that peace of mind to just go, let's make the play, is really nice to see.
Yeah, not just for this play, but for the game in total. The player of the game for us is Ryu. And it's quite interesting because he didn't have the best spring split of his life. And it would be very important for H2K if now with Freeze as well, they can set that through. From you, your experience in scrimming versus H2K, do you sense any different dynamic with Freeze now?
I think H2K play in a very similar way still, like as they did with Forgiven.
It's a probably factor.
Yeah, I guess so. But I also think that Forgiven was better at doing it than Freeze is. I think Freeze is more perhaps similar to other AD carries in a way. I think Forgiven plays a very specific style that only he can pull.
Who would you compare him to, Freeze?
I guess the easiest comparison would be to Sven. I think both of them play a pretty stable style. Meanwhile, Forgiven is more just keep on going into the lane, right? And I think he's much more of a lane bully than Freeze ever was or is right now. So I would say that the style still works, but perhaps it's not as effective anymore.
Yeah, lane bully is definitely something you can say about Forgiven. But I just feel like Freeze will have a larger impact in the team atmosphere. Obviously, this is purely conjecture. We don't know what goes on, but we, based on the track record from Forgiven and the fact that the team was resoundingly confident in no longer like kind of playing with him anymore, maybe what Forgiven has an edge up onto Freeze. Freeze makes up in the difference in making everybody else more comfortable and then allow for more progression of the H2K squad.
Yeah, and I also think the style that they were running in the spring split, at some point it became quite easy to see what they wanted to do, right?
They played full on macro.
Yeah, they just kept on doing it every game the same. So as you said, perhaps now with Freeze it's going to be a more balanced team atmosphere, and perhaps they're able to play on both sides of the map. So I'm not sure if there's a win-lose situation here, but I'd definitely say that the specific style worked better with Forgiven than with Freeze.
All right, well, we will see what happens in this one. There's still one game left to play out this week here in Europe as Schalke 04 looks to fire back at H2K after game 1. We'll see you back here in 3.5.
I can play Bardo, Braum.
And we're doomed. That's it.
No.
FF boys.
Storm continues to chase down. Ryu might get 1v1. Siphon power. First blood for Fox. Oh no, Chrono breaks to stay alive for a few seconds longer before Steve is taken down. Things have got messy, but it's Schalke that have got themselves 2 already. Fox is caught. Gets pushed into the gravity field. That'll stun up some of H2K, but Fox is already down before the Storm can come out. There's Rolls from the sideline. Steve's in trouble. Gilius is in trouble.
Chase. I'm on Victor. Victor is dead. Focus Victor. I'm on.
We can end.
Yeah, let's go.
Get the ace. Kill the base. H2K 1-0 the series.